Hey everybody, do you have a favorite movie out there? You should. If you do, then this list is something that only you, are gonna have to watch. Because some of you would think that if you are a huge movie fan like I am, you would have those famous movie quotes that are personally your favorite. And that's where this list comes in. I've counted down, and it was hard to do, so if you don't see one on here that you um, would think is great, then it's either because I didn't put it on there, forgot, or I just don't think it's that good. Here's a list of 10 favorite movie quotes. Movie quotes, are quotes from a movie that you probably are just very iconic to, quotes you like to live by, or quotes you just feel very good chills when you hear. And that's where this comes in. I've counted down to some of my favorite movies, some of my favorite quotes from most of those movies. And while not every movie on this list is one of my all-time favorites, they're still great movies, and they're still, of course, great movie quotes. They're quotes I would like to live by, quotes that are just overall very enjoyable, or just quotes I just seem to really enjoy listening to and can never get tired of. So that's where this list comes in. My top 10 favorite movie quotes from some nice movies. Nice quotes. I'll talk about, what makes the quotes so nice and what makes them have a good meaning to it and all that. Alright, let's get this list started. Psycho. The quotes from Norman Bates where he says, "We all go a little mad sometimes." That's a quote that I honestly would like to live by for the most part. "We all go a little mad sometimes" is a quote said by the famous Norman Bates. Like you heard me talk about him in my list of favorite movie villains. But at this point of the movie, he's not known to be a villain. He's known to being a very nice guy. So this is a quote we all just want to think about in a good way. Of him just having a normal conversation, with that being said, of him saying that all of us can go mad in a good amount of time. And I think that perfectly sums things up, because it's true. I get mad a lot, I can be pretty mad for the most part. I'm probably going to be mad right now if you see this list not being well organized. But regardless, it's a very nice quote that definitely is very well said. And it definitely is a good foreshadowing to the movie, since we know that later in the future, this guy is known for being the killer behind the hotel. That's just what makes this so much fun, with this saying creating something very epic to the movie. So it makes this a very good movie. It's big climax that it creates with lines like this being said before. And I know that I might have just spoiled the movie for a lot of you, but you could know that by saying this quote, the movie's already been spoiled. So I apologize for that. I got mad, but like he says, we all go a little mad sometimes. The Jurassic Park quote that we all can remember from heart. This was a line said in the mix of the movie, of the scene where they all go finally see the first dinosaur. It's a dinosaur that was really pretty epic, and definitely was some really awesome CGI to look at for 1993. And to this day, it's great CGI. But we just see all this being done, and all this is done with all the dinosaurs being shown, all the crazy reactions they have. This dude over here finally gives them the introduction by saying the almighty "Welcome to Jurassic Park." He says it in a very nice tone, in a tone where it just seems really epic. You're just like, holy crap, man, this is the greatest shit we've ever seen in our life. It's a tone that really is what makes this movie one of my all-time favorites. Because, you're entering a park with some of the craziest crap that you could imagine. Stuff that you definitely would not see at all in real life. Not even at Universal, where they have tried to make their own Jurassic Park. That is horrible compared to what this movie makes. And it just has that line delivery. And I honestly do not think a line like this would fit well in a newer film if they said, "Welcome to Jurassic World." I don't know, it probably just doesn't sound right. Or maybe it's just because someone else would have to say it since this actor is dead. But at that point on, I think we all know that this actor did the um, line the best. I don't really think any other actor could create the line as incredible as this actor did. So yeah, I give credit to the actor, and I give credit to the line, I give credit to the entire movie overall. This was pretty epic. And now let's look at another epicness, Jaws. This line was the line delivered by Roy Scheider. Forgot his movie name, but he shoots his gun at the shark, and right before he blows his brains out, he says, "Smile, you son of a." He doesn't actually get the time to say the B word, but that's just what makes it so epic. He says, "Smile, you son of a boo," and blows him up. It was pretty awesome. And while most people would say that the most iconic line in Jaws was the iconic "You're gonna need a bigger boat," in my personal opinion, while that was a really nice line, when I heard this line too, in my opinion, this line is just overall much better. It just is better tone. I like the way it was said better. The "You're gonna need a bigger boat" line was great, but I prefer this line over that because, and again, it sets up the final act of him killing the shark. You just like, dang, that was epic. He's one of the most badass movie guys ever. Surprised I didn't have him in my favorite movie characters. But it's just the way he says that and the way he just blows them up. That was awesome. Pretty awesome stuff. And this movie really does create that stuff really nicely. I'm proud of it. It's definitely what makes it one of my favorite movies out there. Just because of how epic moments like this can be. Oh, look at this. It's a comedy film. One of my all-time favorite comedies, being the funniest film I've ever seen in my life, is Monty Python and the Holy Grail, with the line delivered here known as "just a flesh wound." This line is said very well put together in the context of the film. It was a scene in the movie where the Black Knight is trying to defeat King Arthur. They have an epic battle, but he chops off his first arm, and he just accepts it, just running around with one arm, saying, "Oh, it's just a scratch." But then they keep fighting, and then he chops off his other arm, and now he's just without arms, and he just walks around, kicking him and whatnot, saying, "Oh, it's nothing bad, I'm fine." And King Arthur's like, "What were you talking about? Look at you, your arms are off." He's just like, "Oh, it's just a flesh wound." And that was the epic part of the film. That's what made this line not epic, but pretty hilarious. Because just, he's just walking around with no arms. Like, he does not care that his arms are off. He's just enjoying fighting him. It's hilarious. The scene goes on after this, because he then chops off his other leg, and he just walks around with one leg. It's hilarious. And he still doesn't at all care. But then he chops off his other leg, and now he's just a body with no arms and no legs. You should watch the scene yourself. It's pretty funny. And yeah, it's obviously nothing serious. This is the first line in the entire list that you should not be taken seriously, because it's not epic, it's just pretty hilarious. Pretty hilarious stuff, I'll tell you. So, I gotta admit, this definitely does mean it's one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my life. It's hilarious, and lines like this are why. Oh, look at this. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. The line delivered by the Matthew Broderick character in the end of the movie, known as a line I think I could live by as well. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you can miss it. That line is something I would always want to live by. We all should live by it. Because it's true, you gotta move fast. This entire year has moved fast. I still remember when we first started 2021, and now we're literally at the end of 2021. Jesus, life did move fast. And what's also great about this line is that this is not the first time he said it. He said it twice in the entire film. He said it the first time in the opening of the film when he was just talking to us in a little scene of him walking around. But the way he said it was kind of in the more common to everything else he was saying. He says it again at the end of the film, and even says, "I said it again once, and I'll say it again." And now this was the final line of the entire movie, because yeah, he said this last throughout the entire film, and then the movie just ends. But I think it ends at a pretty good time. This was a line that really knew how to end the film. It's something I always like to live by, something I always enjoy listening to, and it's something that makes this one of my favorite movie characters out there. You can say all you want about him, but he's awesome. I love it. And I love the way this movie delivers that line. Twice, but Bailey the last time. The Shining, the iconic line from The Shining, "Here's Johnny." I really do not know why this is one of my favorite movie quotes of all time. It's just so ridiculous. I mean, this movie does create some pretty creepy stuff, but a line like this, you could not want to take seriously, while others would enjoy taking it seriously. Not taking it seriously, it's just a hilarious Jack Nicholson acting crazy as ever. While in context of the film, yeah, Jack Nicholson is portraying a character who comes home and starts to take revenge on his entire family as he chops this door open to try and kill his wife, and then says, "Here's Johnny." That is a very crazy stuff. It's crazy in context of the film, and I honestly will admit it is kind of crazy. But again, it also can be kind of funny, however you like to put it. Because yeah, this dude is literally just ready to kill his wife as he pops over that door and delivers that. I think if you were in the situation, you'd probably be as scared as his wife was here. Because yeah, he's not playing around. He's gonna kill you. And a line like this is both somewhat funny out of context, but in context is pretty crazy type. It's probably the craziest we've seen a horror movie character go. And that's just what makes this so fun. The craziness this line is and the craziness this character has. Back to the Future's famous final line, "Where we're going, we do not need roads." This was, again, the final line said in Back to the Future Part 1. And this was somewhat of the first line said in Back to the Future Part 2. But I'm only focusing on how it was said in Back to the Future Part 1. The way it was said in Back to the Future Part 2, honestly, in my opinion, was not as nice as it was here. In Part 1, it's the final line, which is the best part about it. And he says it in the best context ever. Like, when the movie ends, we see Marty just, enjoying his present time, getting a car, about to kiss his girlfriend. But then Doc comes, tells him, "We need to go to the future." And they all go out. He says, "We better back up, Doc. We don't have enough roads to get up to 88 miles. And Doc says, "Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads." So that's where this film ends, and that's where the second film begins. I actually heard a fun fact by someone that this movie was originally just supposed to be a standalone film. There wasn't at all supposed to be any sequels. This was just supposed to be one movie. But a line like that really made it hard for us to ignore what more could come. So they decided to continue on. Which, on one hand, was kind of smart. It is kind of nice to see how much more adventures these guys can go on. On the other hand, this line was pretty nice, and I think I would have enjoyed it very much, too. So, either way works. This is a great line. And here's another movie that's one of my all-time favorite comedies ever. A hilarious film called Airplane, with the famous line, "Do not call me Shirley." A line out of context, you may think, how is it that iconic? It's iconic because of the context it's in. It's in an Airplane, one of the funniest films ever, where these two talk, and he's like, "Can you fly this plane and land it?" The other guy's like, "Well, Shirley, you cannot be serious right now." He says, "Oh, I am serious. And do not call me Shirley." If you think about it real quick, or just watch the scene alone, and you'll know why this line is so iconic and is number 3 on this list. It's hilarious how straight-faced these guys can deliver the lines. That's just what makes this movie so funny. The way that these guys can deliver the lines so straight. There was never a laugh intended. They all just deliver the lines so seriously. It's what makes this movie so great. The way that they all just take all the hilariousness so serious in the film. And that's what makes the lines funnier, and just what makes this more iconic. A funny line that's, again, not serious, not epic, but just downright hilarious. I just do not think any actor could deliver a line this great in a movie today. Nowadays, comedy films could not epic the hilariousness that movies at this time did. Because with lines like this, you just can't top it. I mean, it's number 3 still, but I'm just going to tell you right now, the top 2 are not lines from comedy films. They're just fun lines that are epic. It's just, compared to all other comedy films out there, this is the one line that proves that comedy was something great back then. "You shall not pass," said by Gandalf in the first Lord of the Rings film. All 3 Lord of the Rings movies made for some pretty epic lines, some pretty epic moments, but the one epic line I seem to really think about a lot throughout this trilogy is this line said by Gandalf. Said, "You shall not pass." Yeah, you know this is iconic. This is a line that we all can remember. It's the most iconic line in the entire film. Because, again, you know, I don't find it enjoyable because of all the memes it created. I watched the movie alone without thinking about the memes, and I just see this as a very great line because it's in the context. Gandalf has to fight a dragon, or whatever it was, I forgot, but is ready to face anything. So he uses his staff and his sword and talks the dragon out of fighting him as he delivers the famous "You shall not pass." It was said greatly, and the way the movie does it is great. Okay, don't listen to what the memes tell you. Don't let the memes tell you, oh, it was so cringy and so dumb. It wasn't. It was epic. And it's a line delivered by Gandalf Ian McKellen himself. So, yeah, no one can replace Gandalf in this role. It was just so great to watch. Just so epic in every way. But of course, the famous line of all time has to come from the Star Wars movies themselves. Here's the line that everybody remembers the most from. It is the famous line, "I am your father." Don't tell me the line was, "Luke, I am your father." Screw you, it wasn't. It's a stupid Mandela effect. I hate those. In the movie, it's the epic final battle of The Empire Strikes Back, where Luke fights Darth Vader. But then Darth Vader chops off Luke's arm just to fight. I'm gonna stop. And they all go and have a talk. Darth Vader says, "Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father." Luke says, "Yeah, he told me enough. He told me that you killed him." And Darth Vader says, remember, this is how he said it. He said, "No, I am your father." It was said in the movie so greatly. Like, for those who never heard it before, for those who are just watching the franchise for the first time without any context at all, like, for people who saw this movie in the theater back then, this line made so much. You were all shocked to hear this. If you see the prequel films before this one, it's not that shocking. But if you see these movies before the prequels, this was very, very shocking to hear. Nobody would have guessed that this was the truth, because this was just so epic to hear. And it was just so much to think about. And again, he said, "No, I am your father." He did not say, "Luke, I am your father." You can think of that if you want. You can think of that. If you want to make it in context, you can say that. But that's how it was said in the movie. And it was said pretty well. It was said in a way that just gave me chills, gave everybody chills. Even for someone who has seen the prequels before this, it could still give you very chills to how it was said and where it was said. Everything that was said to it. All of it was just so epic in every way possible. So, is that good? No? It was good, okay? I did a good job. Come on, I did a great job. Please. Don't need to thank me. I did great. So, yeah. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'm sure you did. You better. That was it. Goodbye. See you next time. That was all the good that I could give you.